Kia ora and welcome to this very special live with this very good-looking man. Brand cut through when the world is burning. Kia ora, Stu Lees, marketing coach extravaganza, extraordinaire is the word I'm looking for. How are you today, young man?
I'm extravagant.
Extravagant and extraordinary, absolutely.
And I'm on fire like the world is, and it's pouring down with rain here in Auckland. And so, it's good to be in this warm room with you, John, talking about something that I think is super important.
Look, let's get straight into it, mate, because I think you're being a bit of a drama queen. Is it really that bad? You talk about the world is burning down. Are you saying that you're being a bit over the top on this?
No, I don't think so. Look, I think in my history as a marketer, I don't think I've seen a pandemic and a war and a political shitstorm that is New Zealand all happen at once. So I feel like when there's all these content people, there's all these business owners, there's all these marketers out there going, why the hell has my engagement gone down? Why has my reach gone down? What the hell am I going to do about it? Big or small?
But surely we could just keep doing what we're doing. Is that, or can we just crank up what we did before?
Yeah, nah. Is my Kiwi answer to that, mate. I've got a bunch of clients all working really, really hard to try and gain some leverage back, gain some attention back, and the old tactics are not working. Right. And the old tactics are not working because it isn't just noise that's happening. It isn't just a little bit of distraction or disruption. There's been some fundamental in between all of these external factors coming along that have created noise. There's been other things that have been happening in the marketplace as well.
What are those things?
Well, look, I think the number one is, you take everyone's target customer, right? And you've got that historically, if we're talking Kiwi companies, Aussie companies, most of the people who'll be watching this, the historical channels that we've all done and loved are Facebook and maybe Instagram, right? And a lot of us have been getting away with organic posting, and then there's been a bit of a resurgence in the last few years of, say, LinkedIn for the B2B crowd. The thing that's been fascinating is a lot of the audience that have been consuming on those channels have moved now to other formats. And the most notorious move has been, this TikTok and Reels revolution, right? 2020, right? When the pandemic comes along, you got all this noise happening. And then TikTok grows by 80%. And then the following year, 2021, it grows by 18% again. And in the meantime, Facebook has grown by 0.4%. And Facebook is aggressively trying to grow. It's one of the richest companies in the world. So you take, all of what's going on, and then you take this shift below that, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, maybe some of my audience aren't even looking where I was hoping they'd be looking before.
And so what are those warning signs, do you reckon?
Look, if you're measuring your content, and you should be measuring your content, you'd be looking daily, weekly, monthly. And the number one thing to look at, let's say if you're in Facebook, is that reach level is not happening anymore. Same good old content that you're putting out, or even the same ads that you're putting out, and the reach has gone down. Right. So that's the first sign of an unwinding or a bit of a spiral downwards, which will hit. If your reach goes down, there's less humans, less eyeballs. If there's less humans, less eyeballs, engagement's going to follow. And if engagement goes down, guess what's going to follow from that? Leads and sales. So keep an eye on your reach. Make it something that you're really keeping an eye on all the time. And then start thinking about what you can be doing to fix that.
They are worrying signs. I mean, if we look at what's happening on LinkedIn, just over the last 3 weeks, what content you would usually put out is quite engaging. So no, I don't think you are being a drama queen. There is definitely things happening out there in the marketplace which allude to. But what can we do? You said reach. Do we keep posting or do we stop?
You know, I think firstly I'll talk to the fact that it's really frustrating, right? People work really hard on content marketing, and to just see the numbers almost just disappear or go down again and again, it's really frustrating. So it's probably not something you're doing wrong. It's just that we all have to start behaving differently, and some of those behaviors are, what I recommend people do is actually take a little bit of a step backwards, because the first thing we need to really look back at is saying, where is my audience? And am I on the right channel? You've got to ask yourself that. And do I need to really be looking at other channels where they might be and having a bit of a test of those other channels? And then the other thing I see so often is people spreading themselves so too thin, right? And this is a bit of a theme that I've been talking to people this year about, people going YouTube and Vimeo and Facebook, Instagram Reels, stories, and then dabbling on TikTok and doing them all pretty shit, right? So what I'd also recommend is really take a channel at a time and test it with rigor, and be a little bit hard on yourself around, if I'm getting nothing there, I'm spending no more time there for a while, and I'm going to go where I'm getting some reach, and I'm going to double down my efforts there. That's I think the simplest thing to do.
Are you saying that I have to do TikTok?
I would love to see you on TikTok, Mr. Maybury. I think you would be a superstar, but no, I'm not, because I don't know if your audience is on TikTok.
Correct.
So what would be the point there? But the thing is, you can go on the internet and there's a bunch of websites that will tell you exactly where at least the demographic of your audiences are. And also the interesting angle is to understand what the trend is. So if the audience, which it is, by the way, on TikTok and Reels in particular, is aging and the demographic is growing, then that's a great time to start, let's say, a Reels game, okay? But what I will also say is you can be on TikTok and Reels and you don't have to dance.
Yeah. Look, I think, it's a bit like, going back to those days when you work in radio, eventually that target market of, classic hits, which is typically, people aged 40 to 50, the music that the 40 to 50-year-olds, eventually the 40 to 50-year-olds become 50 to 60, and therefore that particular music isn't relevant to the music they like. So you've eventually got to move on. But let's just go where your audience is. It really is great advice. What about people who want to go and get some help? What are they? Where do they go if they don't have those skills to create that content that's going to fit those channels that you suggest?
Yeah, it's a tricky question because A, I'm probably going to piss people off. B, I want to be really fair to the majority of people who are probably asking this question are small business owners. So if I'm talking to small business, there's, we're really blessed in New Zealand. There are a lot of government training courses that you can go on now for free, right? There's a lot of resources, but you've got to go and do the mahi and actually watch them and sit them and do them. What I would also say is don't go to Facebook groups and ask questions, because you're asking an uneducated audience a highly important question, right? The third thing is start at the top and work downwards. So when I say start at the top, I know of 6 in Auckland. I know of 6 different marketing strategy consultants, and yeah, I'm biased. That's where I think you should start. You can start with a couple of hours. You can start with a whole program. But if you don't really talk to someone who knows the whole picture, then to go off to an Instagram specialist, or to go off to a video specialist, or to go off to someone who can do SEO for you, in my opinion, is madness, because you're really just throwing money at a single channel without understanding where that channel fits into your big picture. So go and find some marketing strategy support. Go and find someone who's, freelance or an agency, and start off with strategy only. Don't sign any retainers. That's my first advice. Bigger firms, go to an agency, get a fresh look of eyes from a strategy only perspective. So if you've got big agency over here, go to another agency over here, get their top strategist, say, you are not going to win my business because of this. I want the real deal strategic consulting engagement. I want a second set of eyes on what we've got here in our camp. Don't not tell your agency about this, by the way. Do it open book. And your incumbent agency should see this as a welcome, fresh set of eyes to help them do a great job. That's my recommendation to small or large business, is really take a step back and look at the big picture.
I like it. Smart advice from a marketing strategist. Very good, Stu Lees. Who do you think is, can you remember a time? Well, it's like, you're right. At the top of the live, you've said pandemic and war. Obviously, there hasn't been another time, but we can look back to trying times or recessional times. Can you think of who did something really well back then?
Prior
to
what I call the 3 Ps, right? Putin, pandemic, right? Politics.
Yeah, not that.
So prior to the three Ps, we have had a couple of global recessions, and I'm going to call it, I think we're coming into one. And they were trying times. There was lots of noise. Let's say 2008, right? Heaps and heaps and heaps of noise about property. Everyone freaking out about property because it hurt us. It hurt renters. It hurt property owners. It hurt first home buyers. So lots and lots of noise. A similar situation. Who did really, really well? 2 types of businesses, right? Businesses who went out to acquire customers and went out hard, right? And businesses who went out to acquire other businesses, right? I remember 2010, people going out and buying branches of chains that had franchise chains that had fallen under and buying out leases for next to nothing, and doing, 3 years later, sitting back and going, wow, what a business we've built. Now, not everyone's in a position to do that. So the third type of person I saw do really, really well as a result of the last big economic challenge were the people who didn't just double down, they quadrupled down, right? They went, I'm just going to hit this head on with everything that I've got. I'm not going to cut any corners anymore. All of that doing business was easy for a while. It's disappeared, and they just cross every T and dot every I, and then double down on all of the effort, and they did extremely well. So it wasn't easy, and it won't be easy for most of us, right?
Yeah, really, really, really great advice. So how do we get noticed? How do we get our promotions? How do we get our campaigns noticed? You might have already touched on this with some of your earlier answers, but obviously, if that audience is distracted, how do we? Will they come back? I guess the first question is, do you think that audiences will come back to LinkedIn after they've got COVID and they've recovered and come back? Obviously, there's been some news today about a certain mandates being released on the 4th of April, which is always going to be good news for a lot of people. There's a little bit, but you can't help but reading consumer confidence is down across the board. But you're not a person, Stu Lees, who is known for watching the news. So, and it's a good way to get rid of that distraction. So, there was a couple of questions there for you, I think.
Yeah, sure. Look, let's use an analogy, right? Let's imagine that you're walking into a hall at a networking function, and there's 200 people there, right? And you walk into that room, and in a typical low-key way, what we would walk into that room is we'd walk in, we might go straight to the bar, get a drink, look around a little bit, feel a little bit awkward, see someone who you might connect with, and then go and stand next to them, and hopefully they're polite enough to talk to you. And that's how most Kiwi brands hit social media marketing, hit all of their marketing, right? It's real low-key, and they don't get noticed. Now imagine walking into that room and everyone's freaking screaming at each other, which is what we've kind of got in comments in social media. And then imagine if there's outside the room, there's explosions and fire, right? And at the other side of the room, there's a circus. And that to me is kind of sums up what social media is for poor old business owners or poor old brand managers or content managers in NZ. So, how do you get noticed in all of this stuff, and without being a dick too, right? So number one, focus, right? Who in this group of 200 people do I really, really want to do business with? And how, and then what do they want? right? So you walk into that room, rather than standing at the bar, just go, hey, is anyone here a real estate agent? Right? Oh, you guys are. I've got something to tell you, right? So start declaring your intention of who you want to target, because that's not happening enough. Number one, you're going to start to get engagement from real estate agents if that's who you really want, right? Number two, look at what your target audience are already engaging with. And I don't mean your competitors, because your competitors are probably just as mediocre as you are. I mean the people who your audience are really engaged with, and look at what are they engaging with? Are they engaging with video? Are they engaging with TikTok? Right? Is it Benny Brown that they're engaging with? Is it Mark Zuckerberg? Who are the real influential people in their world, and what format are they engaging with? Is it long format stories, whatever? Emulate the leaders in your audience's world, not the leaders in your competitor world, right? That's crucial. And the last thing is test and then measure, test and then measure, test and then measure again and again and again. If you just go in and say, I'm going to go all in on TikTok, well, that's dumb if you don't know what sort of results you're getting out of this all in TikTok thing. If you're going to go all in with email marketing, that's also dumb if you don't read your open rates and your engagement rates. So yeah, test and measure. And then what you'll do is, by doing that rigorously, you'll learn what gets the reach, and then you can then emulate and amplify that.
I'm glad you mentioned measure, and I get the test, right? It's obviously try it out, test it, but from a social content perspective, what measures? Again, most people, when they, obviously people talk about, I'm going to do videos, and the views are down. The views are down. Engagement's really good, but the views are down, especially on LinkedIn. It's like, guys, it's like, are you having conversations? Sorry, are you having conversations with people in the comments and building those relationships? Because then video is working. But how do you measure? What were the three measures that you would recommend for people to look at for social content?
For social content, for the sake of this, reach, right? Without reach, nothing works. So if your content is not getting any reach, it's not being shown to anyone, then the algorithm isn't giving you any love. And that's probably the first thing you need to fix. So the way you need to fix that is look at who is getting love from the algorithm, who are clearly getting all the reach, right? What content types are they doing? Is it video? Is it text? Is it one video on Monday and 2 texts on Wednesday and then a poll on Friday, right? What are they doing? Emulate that model first with your own story and your own conversation to your own audience. That would be the first one, is reach. Second one is reach exponentially goes up with engagement. So if you're not getting any comments, if you're not getting any likes, then you're going to be sitting at this really low threshold of reach, right? So, again, if you're not getting any engagement, you're not asking any questions, you're not really being engaging, right? You could be just too open-ended in your content, and you could be too Kiwi in your content too, right? It's like, hey, I'm Dave, I'm a painter. Dave's painters are really, really reliable. Bye. Right?
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
We're an awesome bunch, really.
You should buy my stuff. And that's all they write.
Bye.
And when you say test, obviously I get a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I tried video and it didn't work." I tried one video. Yeah. So are we testing 2 posts a week over a 4-week period and then looking at those numbers? Or are we talking, over 3 months? What months?
Yeah. When I help clients build a content plan, we work around a 3-month minimum. Now you're testing every week. You're looking at your results every week, but you're really looking at the whole campaign model. If you get to 2 months and there's nothing happening, yeah, cool, can it and start again, right? But plan out a campaign of, I'm going to do a video a week for 3 months, right? Or I'm going to do a video every 2 weeks for 3 months, and I'm going to do 2 image posts in between that, or whatever it happens to be. and then look back over each month and go, how did last month go? And how did it compare to the month before that?
Good
Right,
advice.
that's what I mean by measurement.
Got it. I have 2 more questions for you, young Stu. Tone. Okay, once we've tried and tested, what sort of tone do we need to consider applying to our content? Do we talk to the current, do we be like the Facebook comments in the New Zealand Herald and talk about politics and talk about that stuff? It's like, no, but remember, we're talking brand and business here. But what sort of tone would you bring to your content?
What do you want from the content? So most businesses want people to stop and pause whatever they're doing and at least consume what the content is saying, right? And so the political tone can sometimes be attractive because it gets people to stop. They get reach out of it. They get engagement out of it. But if you look at that engagement, it's often angry, right? So what I'd recommend for tone is, and the same analogy, let's go back to the room with 200 people in it, right? Cheerfulness, right? Thoughtfulness. Have the tone of, empathetic and positive, I think, is what wins in this time, right? So if I take all of that, what's the best tone, John? It's the tone. It's a likable, cheerful person that people want to hang around. That's a tone that's winning, right? It may not get the immediate attention that some of the angry crap does, right? It may not, but it gets the enduring attention that leads to business.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to put you on. Oh, okay, just Robbie M has said Maybury for TikTok in 2022.
Right.
I can do a Tom Broxham. I can do a Tom Broxham.
You could bring the Macarena back.
I don't think so. Last question for you. So I'm going to put you. This is
Bring it.
Top 3 media channels that we should focus on for 2022. Oh, I already know the first one. That's cool. Oh no, that's right. I'm asking the questions for the guest, for the expert here. What are your top 3 channels that we should focus on? I guess for listening to you,
wait. I'm going to get you to ask the question again. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want media type or channel in which to put the media? So by media type, is it text, is it email, and by channel, I mean, is it TikTok, is it Instagram, is it YouTube?
Well,
right?
Listening to you today, therefore, we need to decide who is our audience. So there's always going to be the first question. So let's say, for example, I'm a professional services business. What are the media channels or the opportunities that you see for 2022?
Cool. So if you're a professional services business, then for 2022, I would recommend, again, depending on where your audience is. So if you know your audience is on Instagram, or if you know your audience is on LinkedIn, right, then pick that channel as a place to work in. But absolutely video. Well done, John, for being the video guy. Absolutely email marketing, because you're going to get a higher engagement rate and you get 100% reach every time you push send, and it's for free, damn it. And then what I would say is short video somewhere, right, for 2022, whether it's short videos on YouTube, short videos on Reels, or short videos on TikTok. Try it out depending on where you can statistically find that there are some of your audience, and see how it goes for you, because all of those media conglomerates are giving a lot of love to short video. So you can't look away from that.
And your definition of short video?
So 15 to 30 seconds, although they are starting to increase the amount of time you're allowed to do it on those platforms.
Yeah. Look, if you look at the Gary V's and the certain people like that, and it just could be just a picture or a little short 20-second piece of you doing your favorite quote about your favorite client. But yes, you try and get people to do a 30-second video, Stu Lees. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Have we solved those burning questions about the world is burning, getting cut through?
Yeah, I hope so. And if anyone's got any questions, you can drive through into the comments now. Thank you, Robbie, for pointing out that John is a gem that we need to see more of in short, bite-sized doses. One thing I would say is, don't let this stuff scare you, although it might be frightening, it might be annoying, it might be painful. Those who persevere with whatever marketing they're doing will be the only people who succeed. Those who sit back and just go, I'm just going to go head in the sand. You're gonna go further down, further backwards, and it's going to take longer for you to come back. So, have a crack, persevere, get some help, go and watch John's channel, get some of his wisdom, and kia kaha. That's probably my last word.
Excellent. Well, I will leave you because it's we're going live on your account, so you've got to stop the thing. So I'll say thank you very much. If you do have any questions, please put them below this live. Mr. Stu Lees is on LinkedIn. It is one of his channels, I do believe, and he will be able to come back and answer those questions for you. And if you need a good marketing strategist, this guy's pretty good too. Oh, little plug for Potent. It's good.
All right. Hey, and thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, John, for looking after me for this time. See you next time, buddy.
See you, bud.